All right, so my name is Jensen, and my story is called The Bus Ride. And I'm going to start this one a little bit into the story. At the university, 3 freshmen hop on, tapping their phone screens to display their bus passes. Carrying beach bags instead of backpacks, they pile into the raised seats, laughing nervously, and talking loud enough to annoy the dog. Their pallor betrays the newness to the coast. The merciless sun and life's worries haven't marked them yet. Before the bus leaves the winding campus, 2 abuelitas climb in with their 99 Ranch Market canvas totes. In hushed Spanish, they gossip about their employers and lament the pampered families that are nixing their usual vacations. There will be no light dusting and watching telenovelas while the hedge fund manager and his second family rent their air-conditioned yurts down in Machu Picchu. However, they agree they can't complain. Too many of their families are hurting with the closure of the restaurants. Dios mío, the gray-haired one says as she makes the sign of the cross. The chatter of the freshmen dies as the bus turns a corner and the cove comes into view like an Instagram photo. They clamber off as they reach sea level and tear off their masks like it's the last string connecting them to their parents' concern. 2 stops down, the abuelitas depart the bus and bid gracias to the driver. He reminds himself to call his mom on Sunday. She's confused about why he can't visit the home in person now. In the village, the barista and the couple drift away, each to their own sanitized for your protection jobs. The dog is a bookstore dog, the only employee not required to wear a mask or have his temperature checked. They pass the outdoor cafes where old money swaps air with new money. The patrons' masks dangle from one ear, a sign that they know that death is out there, but only for the unclean with poor credit scores.
James, this bus ride feels like this very nice microcosm where you can comment on everything. Where did you just come up with this idea, and how did you decide that this was going to be the format for you?
Well, first of all, I ride the 30 bus every day to get to work. I ride from UTC all the way into La Jolla, and you really do see this microcosm of the whole stratosphere. You see, the poorest of the poor on there. You see middle class, you see the working class, and every once in a while you see a very confused rich person on there as well. And I thought it was the perfect way to describe how the COVID crisis affects everybody, but in different ways and different reactions.
And since you ride this bus, have you noticed a change over the course of this pandemic? I mean, nobody felt like it was going to last this long. Everybody was like, oh, it's going to be over soon, whatever. But it's gone on for almost a year now. And have you noticed a change in either the type of people or their attitudes or things like that?
Well, the huge change are the lack of students. I mean, especially on the 30, coming from UTC, used to have a ton of students on there. In fact, a lot of times it was hard because we do take our dog and a stroller onto the bus also, and it was hard to get onto the bus or get off the bus because of all the students. And now you see maybe 1 or 2 students riding in from the UTC area, so they're not really out there. The only time you see these students now is if they go to the beach down in La Jolla. After that, it's pretty much the same. You see the same people that you did before. People that are going to work, people that are just riding the bus to go back and forth and kill time. So it's really the students that are only thinking big change.
And what was the process like in terms of writing this? Was this something that you felt was helpful to help you get through the pandemic? Was it a cathartic experience?
Well, as a writer, you always want to be able to capture something that is real. And so that was one of the great things about this project. You're able to capture something that is real. Each one of the characters in this story, even though they're fictional, they're actually taken from people that I've seen on the bus. And it really felt good to bring the story of the people that are actually out there. In fact, there's one young man at the very end of the story. He's a real person. And he, throughout the pandemic, he still has kept his whole wonderful demeanor. He like smiles and everything like that. And it's like, that's the kind of thing that I want to, give to everybody out there, that kind of hope that he has.
And I really like the attention to detail that you have. So when you're writing this or when you're writing the bus, are you kind of taking mental notes of how people look and behave? Are you taking actual physical notes? And how do you kind of like process that from, you know, what you're seeing to what you want on the written page?
Oh, a little bit of all of that. There are so many times that stuff that I'm working on, the people that I observe, I have my phone on me. I've got a word processing program on there that I use, and I'll add notes as I'm going or send myself emails about a certain person that I see, and they end up in all sorts of stories. So I wish I could just sit there and relax, but usually I am just going, okay, that guy's real interesting. I got to remember how he did that. And so, yeah.
A writer's always working.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And you always have to be careful what you say because you never know if you'll end up in there.
And what was it like being a part of this project where you are one of many writers who are commenting on the current pandemic and that these are all going to be collected together?
I thought it was great. I mean, you know, just like the original, I think it's going to be something that, you know, people will be able to go back and look at, you know, years from now. And when one of those, you know, where were you type moments. And there's so few times that it's written down by so many people. And you'll see, like when 9/11 happened, you'll see books by people, but you never really see that collection of people writing about, this is the way it looked to me as this whole thing was going on. And it happened over such a long period of time. It wasn't like an instant. It was like, how did we deal with this over a long period of time? And so it's so great that 100 different people with 100 different viewpoints about what happened over this long period of time. I think it's amazing, and it's great to be a part of it.
Well, you mentioned 9/11, and the thing that's very different is that, you know, 9/11 hit New York hardest, and those people really felt the impact. But with the pandemic, I mean, people are affected differently, but we're all kind of across the globe dealing with the same thing, maybe in different ways, but we're all kind of facing it, and it seems to connect people in a different way.
Definitely, definitely. It is amazing, you know, it is kind of a great leveler in a way. So, yeah.
And has the pandemic offered you time to be more reflective? You hear people say like, this has given me time to think more and contemplate things more. And as a writer, do you feel that, or do you feel a different kind of sense?
I wish, but at the same time, I'm a bookseller. And so with the pandemic, when it came on and hit last March really big, my job became busier because, you know, I handle all of our online orders. And so I'm just like real busy. And so it took a good couple of months to get back into my writing after, you know, everything started shutting down. And I was really jealous of a lot of fellow writers online because they say, oh, this is wonderful. I can finally sit down and do my novel. I have all this time. Nobody's bugging me. And I'm sitting there, yeah, I wish. You know, I've got to be at work in another 5 minutes. And so here I am on the bus, working on my novel on the bus. And then when this project came along, it's like, oh, I can work on the bus and I'm talking about the bus. But eventually get back to normal.
I know, I have the same feeling. I see friends going like, I've got this project I'm working on at home, I'm cleaning this, I'm building that. And
I'm baking bread.
But, you know, I'm going like, I'm really grateful to have a full-time job, but I'm also jealous that some people have some time at home.
Yeah.
And do you have any other projects planned right now?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through a novel that I'm working on around a mystery, sort of a Carl Hyacin type mystery. But it's using a detective, think Peter Dinklage. Think him in a Southern mystery, also hilarious type of novel. So I'm really deep into that right now. So.
And mystery is something you really love.
Oh God, yes, it's my favorite subject. You know, there's very few mysteries that I don't like, but you know that's my main read. And that's at the bookstore. That's what people come in and ask me about is, do I ever read a new mystery? So.
All right. Well, I want to thank you very much for talking about your work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.